notice that that's a really broad spectrum? From Mennonite to Mormon? From Protestant to Catholic? And this isn't all of our churches. These are just the ones that I can name off the top of my head who financially support and give us people support. But we also have Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, Navy, Coast Guard, Marines, the Army, Air Force. Because they're so far away, there's closer pantries. But you could put the Air Force with the Army because it's Fort Eustis, Langley, so. Homeschool. We do a lot with homeschool. This year we're actually working on a homeschool curriculum. Fraternities and sororities. Employed, unemployed, 8 years old to 79. Now when I say 8 years old, those are ones who are working. We do have kids that are 5 and 6 that come as well. We give out little plastic bins for people to put their food in, and so those kids run them back and forth for us. Parents love it. Spend an hour and a half running back and forth with these bins. And with those, we work on colors, because our bins are different colors. We work on numbers, and we do small math while we're doing all of our work. We are literally the children of God feeding God's children. A number of years ago, we had a partner church that was across the street from the monastery who had been with us for over a decade. They were financial contributors. They had been, every Christmas they would come over and give out presents. They were an independent Baptist, Bible-believing, King James AV 1611. If you don't read that version of the Bible, you're damned going to hell church. They were still partners with us up until about 2016. And I got a phone call from the pastor saying, listen, I'm retiring. I've just spent an entire month telling them why they needed to support you. Every Sunday you were in my sermon, but I don't think they're going to do it. I said, well, that's God's way. So after he left, 2 months later, we get this questionnaire in the line, in the mail. And it said, we'd like to know what your theology is regarding the second coming. It's happening. Do you believe in pre, mid, post tribulation? Don't know. It's happening. They wanted doctrinal beliefs. Well, we're a food pantry. I don't impose my Anglican views on the people that come through the door. None of our churches are there to proselyte. We're there to do one thing, which is what? Feed the hungry. So I sent them back. I got a response back saying all of our missionaries need to be approved and need to teach appropriate doctrine. So I called. I had on voicemail, had one of my partners there, and I said, listen, hi, I'm Brother Tim, Five Loaves Food Pantry. Oh yeah, we've been anxious to get your response back. I said, well, I'm really kind of confused. We're not a teaching ministry. We're not a theological basement. We feed the hungry. Yeah, well, who do you feed? God's children. Oh, you must not read the Bible. Now, there aren't many things that you can say to me as an Anglican that would flip my switch. But telling me that I don't read the Bible when I cycle through it every year? That's one of them. So I said to him, I said, sir, I said, maybe you misunderstood. I said, we feed God's children. That's each and every person that's born who God knew and formed before they were even implanted in the womb, whom he knew and knew what was going to happen in their life, as opposed to the children of God, who are the saved and elect that are going to heaven. Oh. Well, we feel they should be saved before they eat. It was nice talking with you. Thank you. I want you to picture your mind the Sermon on the Mount. Hey, Jesus, people are hungry. Oh, yeah? Yeah, they're really hungry. There's about 5,000 men out there. Who knows how many women and children? All right. What I want you to do is find out if there's any food out there. We already did. There's a little boy over here with 5 loaves and 2 fishes. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Those who think I'm the Messiah, let's go over here and eat. Wow, I'm all alone. No. We feed the hungry, no matter who they are. By the numbers, This is going to get, I can give you copies of these. This year, so up to November, we've served 1,735 families, made up of over 5,052 family members. 1,945 children, 2,612 adults, and 496 seniors. That's in 11 months. They've done over 15,807 family visits. That's counting each time they've come to get food. If you count their family members, that's 50,000 individuals that were fed throughout the year. And when they get the food, our goal is to give them 3.5 meals worth of food. We are an emergency pantry when people come to in their dire need, but we are a sustaining food pantry because we're open 5 days a week and one evening. The sustaining part is where people can come to us every other day to get food that they want, or every day depending upon how they shop. We have one guy who has cancer who's going through extreme treatment. He comes every day just to get one piece of fruit and one vegetable to take home. We sustain him where he is. We have a pizza night. We partner with another church. They do one of our pizza pickups on Tuesday night. They go down to the East End. Last year they fed 7,035 people. That's not included in our numbers because I can't give statistics. So always think there's 7,000 more individuals. We also give food to the USO for the military. Hope, Unity, Freedom. It's independent. We, in our generation, would say mentally retarded day center. We also give food to PACE this past year. The shelter, it's a program, it's all-inclusive care of the elderly. It's run by Riverside. So it's where seniors can go. They go in the morning, stay all day there. It's an activity place, etc. This is a map of where we are. Each one of those blobs is just a zip code. This one narrows in on our cities. Newport News, this year we've served 1,151 families. Hampton, 178, and York County, 26. Now, a lot of people say, well, why aren't you feeding more of the others? Because personally, I don't want to. I don't think you get out to get food happens to be on a day that we're open because your pantry's not. Then that's what happens. We've got 57 homeless that we've served this year so far. And then immigrants by language, Spanish, Arabic, Swahili. 76 Spanish, 14 Arabic, and 8 Swahili. I want to talk a little bit about this. The food bank has recently asked us to use their database. Our board of directors has absolutely refused. Again, political aside, President Trump has stated at the beginning of this year and earlier just recently, that immigrants should not get a green card or become citizens unless they can be self-sustaining. Now, whether I agree with that or not does not matter. The challenge is this. When that announcement was made, our numbers plummeted because people were afraid to come to us to get food. Now, here's what happens. If we don't help them on a sustaining purpose, they stop coming. The food, the money that they were saving by getting food from us goes to pay the bills. Then they don't have money for other things. Next thing you know, utilities have skyrocketed and now they need money for utilities. Or they're facing eviction. By us providing the food, we save them from these other struggles. So I called up to USDA and said, listen, this form says it's self-declared information. We're not allowed to ask for an ID. Can't do it. And by this self-declared form, you've told us that we can't even question it. So if one person says, I live at one supercalifragilistic way, I'm not allowed to say there's no such thing. Yep, that's right. So with my immigrants, I don't want to tell them to lie. I said, but our homeless are now using social services as their mailing address. And their last four of their social is an apartment number so that they can get their food. And they went, yeah. I said, so can I register them at the food pantry address and use their client number? Yes. So these people are all anonymous in the database. Only I have access to be able to locate them. But the food bank's new database system doesn't protect the information. It's a food bank, or it's a database system. It's a wonderful system, but it's owned by the Mid-Ohio Food Bank. And in their protection of information, they say that they can share it with the federal, state, local government. We're not going to play the government's game about trying to track down individuals. So we stood fast and said no. Now, we've not been eligible for some programs because of that. But we feel that our clients are more important getting fed. Again, we feed the hungry. Some of you may not agree. We can talk later. You may find out I might agree with you. Our end of the year donations from USDA. Anybody in here ever hear of government cheese? Yeah. That's the USDA Emergency Food Program. The neat thing is y'all, again, politics aside, you know how the tariffs went up? We got to keep the farmers going, so what do? Government buys the food. Well, what are they going to do with the food? They give it to the USDA to distribute through the pantries.
So it all bought too.
Yep. And the big issue is that we went from getting 10 items a month, now upwards of 30 to 40. So the amount of food that they're processing is greatly increased. We had 106,000 pounds of USDA, Food Lion 134 pounds, Trader Joe's 72 pounds, Commissary 73 pounds, Restaurant 11,000, Wawa almost 5,000. Wawa, we get the breakfast sandwiches. Perfect for homeless. They come in frozen, they put them in their pockets by afternoon, they thaw it out, or they can use a microwave. Private donations. Private donations, 11,000. That private donations comes everywhere from the Mary Immaculate Victory Garden to your own gardens. We ran last year and this year a campaign called First Fruits. You ever have that lady next door who has zucchini? You want some more zucchini? No, we have enough. We've got zucchini bread, we've got zucchini casserole, I gotta get rid of all this. You bring it to the church. We picked it up on Mondays. So some churches ended up having a First Fruits offering at the front door where people could bring in 1 or 2 tomatoes from their vines, whatever that would come to us to give to the people. So we had over 414,000 pounds. If you were to look at just Food Lion, Trader Joe's, Commissary by category, 35% of the food we got was produce. Think about that. We're giving out healthy, fresh produce. That's the vast majority of everything we give out by 10%. That's why we're open 5 days a week. You can't keep that stuff. You guys ever hear that story of the little kid? Mom, I'm hungry. Go get a banana. There's brown spots on it. Cut it off and eat it anyway. You wouldn't spend your money on that food at the grocery store, but if it's in your house, you're going to eat it. That's what this produce is. It's not pristine. It's not perfect. But if it was free, you would eat it. It's going to be good for 2 or 3 days. 24% is our dairy. 18% is meat. This meat is really hard for me sometimes because whatever meat you see, that's what we get. So, Trader Joe's one year gave us 4 cases of tomahawk chops. 2 of them were $70 in the store. We get filet from Trader Joe's. This one's always hard for me. Let me see. We've got 15% bakery, dairy is 5%, and then shelf bread and frozen. I think it's amazing that we're doing fruits and vegetables. And so much of that is the food we need. In dollars, we say $1.72 is the average of what a pound of food costs. It changes a little bit each year. But in dollars, with USDA, we got $180,000 worth of food. Food Lion, $232,000 worth of food. Trader Joe's, $124,000. Commissary, $125,000. You can see the other numbers. So far this year, we're at $713,000 worth of food. That's what we're distributing, and we have not had to pay for.
Is that what Food Line writes off for their
Yep.
deduction?
Well,
You get that from them?
no, I actually think that Food Line and a number of other stores, they have their own way. They scan it in, scan it out, so they figure out what the taxable donation is. Okay, that's handled at the food bank level. Periodically, though, I'll get an email saying, Brother Tim, can you give us all the your pickups for the month of September for this store? And so we'll send it in. So they do audit it to confirm it. Okay, we've already done that one. In-kind donations. Our food we've already talked about is $731,000. Labor, $107,000. Space is $140,000 value. Our labor is interesting. Again, I don't get paid. So my time is donated as through Livingstone Monastery. Again, I have people who support me individually. They donate to the monastery. The monastery also provides the vehicles for the food pantry. Monastery also pays for the insurance. So there's a huge symbiotic relationship with the monastery and its ministry. But this is also for everybody else who comes. Remember at the beginning I said no one gets paid but everybody receives? Those who were here Tuesday night, can you tell me if you received or not? Yeah? You all received. We may not get paid, but we still receive. Our total donations were just over $1 million this year. Just over $1 million. What are some of our accomplishments? We had a group come up from West Virginia that were 80 kids. They did a festival for us, and then they did a conference, or a concert. At the end of that concert, we had the ability to pray, and I prayed for healing on some of our people. As a result of that, we ended up doing a healing service because that's what our clients wanted to have. We also got a letter from the USDA office on the federal. She says, and this went all the way up to DC, I can honestly say I've never witnessed faster and friendlier distribution. You have a wonderful rapport with your clients, especially the ESL population. It is very evident that you have earned their trust and that they value the steps that you and your amazing volunteers take to ensure a positive experience for all that attend. We are scheduled to have a national visit from the federal office in the spring to see how we do things. That's how much the state has appreciated what we do. We got written up in the newspaper for our Black Friday distribution. The entire week of Thanksgiving, all the food pantries were closed. The food on Friday, nobody would be picking up, got thrown out. So we mobilized to pick it. We got 18 different stores, and we'll talk about that. We got those Food Lion boxes. Little secret, if we pick those up from the food bank, we have to pay $1.21 for each box to get it. There's a shared maintenance fee, don't want to argue about it, but because they picked it up, they stored it, they got to pay the truck drivers and all that. So we have to pay for the food box that you guys donate free. But if I pick it up, we get it for free. So these were some of the boxes, and some of the kids got creative on our Black Friday and wanted them to know that it came from Food Lion Fields. This is our Black Friday distribution. I don't know if you can see the line around the door. We served 163 families. We moved over 8,500 pounds of food. We feed the hungry. That just doesn't mean food. We do homeless outreach. I sit on the Greater Virginia Peninsula Homeless Consortium. I'm the chair of the Homeless Information Database System, which covers all of Hampton Roads. If you guys ever see the signs in Hampton that says, please don't panhandle, have them call this number, I get that information. So everybody that we serve needs to call the Housing Crisis Hotline. If you want that number, let me know, I'll get it for you. Once a person's registered there, then we can go about seeing what resources are available for them. I do praying every day. I learned a very valuable lesson from my previous pastor that when somebody says pray, we pray at that moment. And it's interesting to watch if you're ever at the pantry. Whenever we pray, people immediately shut up. It doesn't matter what faith group they are. I've also done funerals. The other day I was talking to another priest that got ordained the same time I did, and he says, I got to do my first funeral. And I'm kind of like, I've already done 14. I've done funerals at sea. And I mean, we've got people that don't go to church that still need to be respected. I do hospital visits on the regular for our clients to let them know that they're not alone. We help with housing and utility assistance. We don't have any money, but I got the resources. We also do counseling and referrals. We are becoming a place where the hungry, no matter what your hunger is, can be fed and met. Everybody wants to know my prayer requests. I am bad at this. I do not like asking. God says He will provide. We have never asked for financial support. We probably won't until we build the Smith Morton Chapel. Remember I said at the beginning, you have to have a church in order to have a pantry. We need more space. We need walk-in coolers, okay? We need to have more space so that when we fix lunch for ourselves as a community, we can feed other people, all right? We need to expand our distribution. Right now, the weekends, nobody's picking up food, but we can't because the church is in session. We want to be able to pick up food beyond the 2 hours in the morning to pick it up into the afternoon and distribute it longer. Monastery staff will staff it, but we need the building to do it. We need daytime volunteers now. Our daytime volunteers start at about 10:15, 10:30. We're done by 12, 12:15. I don't care if you can heavy lift or not. I need you to come in and sort. I need you to monitor the tables. I also need people to help with food pickups, especially if you have a military ID. And on these, we do ask that you can handle 50 pounds. But if not, I may have volunteers that can go with you. The challenge is while I'm able to get on the base, I cannot bring a guest without having to go through security every day. And the timing is the issue. The commissary loves us to pick up at 10:30, 11 o'clock, and that's when I'm supervising food distribution. So these are the real big needs. Somebody wanted some Eagle Scout projects. We need a new ramp to be built up to the door. We need a dumpster step ramps that go up. And then it goes without saying, if you want to contribute financially, we appreciate it. Jesus looked at them and said, with man this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. And I preface that because of this. Refresh yourself, 1,735 families, 15,000 family visits. We got $25,000 last year. How do you feed that many people? $25,000 got us $979,000 worth of in-kind services. Think about that. We got 414 tons of food because of that $25,000. 16 pounds of food for each dollar that we got. For each dollar, $29.26 of food and $39.17 of in-kind ministry. Think about that. For a $25,000 investment, we're able to run $1 million company. How many of you who played the stock market want stock in my company? We do that because of God. We call it God math. Without God, nothing is possible. But with God, everything is. Thank you for your time.
Introduce yourself and tell us what church you're from, if it's different from this one. Who brought you if you're a guest?